Hi, everyone. I'm so happy that you could join us for part 2 of E2 2022. Gosh, that's like a total mouthful. Anyway, we're thrilled that you're all back for another day of connection making and community building. Yesterday, we talked about the importance of equity in education and covered a few Microsoft tools you can use to support inclusive and accessible learning from anywhere, including the new Reading Coach. We also heard from some incredible speakers. Can you believe we got to learn from Martin Luther King III? It was amazing to hear his message of support for educators around the world and gain insights on leading through challenge.
I know yesterday's lineup will be hard to top, but today's special guests are in a category all their own. Coming up, you'll hear from an investigative climate reporter, thought leaders on the Microsoft team, and members of our global community. Then after you've had a chance to explore the PD tracks, we'll kick off our annual awards ceremony.
I can't wait to reveal the winners of this year's Tech for Good Challenge. Take it from me, the best way to shake those pre-gala jitters is to sit back, relax, and immerse yourself in our expertly curated content.
That is great advice, Christina. So let's get started. Please join me in welcoming Karol Ilagan, an investigative journalist, educator, and Rainforest Investigations Fellow with the Pulitzer Center. In addition to her work shining a light on underreported climate issues, she also teaches subjects like data journalism and investigative reporting at a university level. I'm thrilled Karol is here to share her passion for storytelling and speak on the importance of environmental education in our classrooms and communities.
Good day, everyone. It is my pleasure and privilege to join you all today. To be part of this group, especially at a time when we're going through a pandemic, as well as a climate crisis, is an opportunity to connect, give comfort, and perhaps courage. I come from the Philippines, which is best known, if not for the boxing champion Manny Pacquiao or our President Rodrigo Duterte, but more so for the typhoons and natural disasters that regularly put us on international news. In fact, a few weeks before the country and the world went on lockdown in March 2020 due to COVID-19, the Taal volcano, some 40 miles off Manila, erupted. Several times within the last 2 years, parts of the Philippines would be battered by typhoons and severe flooding. We reported about the wake of the disasters, of families who lost their loved ones and were robbed of their homes. But the trail of the catastrophe, as many of us could relate, would go on for months. Confronted with more than one crisis, teachers and parents, for instance, were left with no choice but to take their chances on distance learning. Teachers are still grasping the new normal, which requires internet access. Some resorted to coin-operated machines selling metered wireless connections so they could go online for trainings and webinars. Students who do not own any gadget had a more difficult time adjusting, and while parents expressed willingness to adapt to the new normal, they were worried over the demands of online learning. The problems are beyond access to gadgets or good Wi-Fi, however. Interaction in the classroom, specifically special education, is a cornerstone of learning. One thing is for sure, parents and teachers like you and me would pull all the stops to make everything work because we don't want our children and our students left behind. Over the years, I've learned that these are the kinds of stories that exemplify journalism and environment reporting. What usually starts as a typical environment story, say disaster risks magnified by climate change, such as typhoons, droughts, flooding, infectious diseases, and wildfires, could become stories about education, human rights, security, land use, the supply chain, contracts, and businesses. In a recent investigation, we found that the nickel used in batteries to power Tesla vehicles, or the so-called green cars, is mined from a mountain in Palawan, an island paradise in the Philippines. To meet global demand, The mine is now on the verge of a major expansion on a pristine rainforest. Environment stories are stories about our daily lives, crossing borders but are nonetheless close to home. Journalists and educators alike play a crucial role, helping people and the young generation understand the most important story of our time, but also help them take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. Explaining the cause and effect is at the heart of environment stories. It is key in finding out the source of the problem and who must be held accountable. Big corporations, big polluters, banks that finance, and authorities that facilitate these activities. But on top of these, of course, is also finding solutions. Sustainable practices that can tell people, hey, something can be done. We might not be in a not so good scenario, but we are also better positioned to take on the problem because we have more knowledge if we choose to put it to good use. In my experience, although the picture is too far from perfect, solutions are possible. Without, of course, exempting institutions, it could also start within our homes, our classrooms, from the food that we eat, from the clothes that we wear, where we put our money, where we invest, or whom we vote during elections. Reporting can be a contributor in shaping policy and public understanding of the climate crisis and its impacts. In the Philippines, decades-long campaigns have resulted in laws being passed to better protect natural resources, indigenous peoples taking control and managing their ancestral lands, or youth groups stepping up to help maintain biodiversity and wildlife. But these types of developments do not happen overnight. The quiet work we do in our own spaces, writing stories or creating modules centered on environment education, serve as constant reminders of what we need to do now and for the future. To end, I wish to share a quote from the late author Alex Tizon, a journalism professor and a former colleague. He said, "Thank God for stories, for those who have them, for those who tell them, for those who devour them as the sole sustenance that they are. Stories give shape to experience and allow us to go through life unblind. Without them, everything that happens would float around, undifferentiated. None of it would mean anything. But once you have a version of what happened, all the other good stuff about being human comes into play. You can laugh, you can feel awe, commit a passionate act, get pissed, want to change things." Thank you, everyone. I wish you all a fruitful conference. Take care.
Thanks, Karol. I love hearing about the connection between educators and journalists. When it comes to taking climate action, you both play crucial roles in helping the next generation of leaders understand the importance of sustainability. If Karol sparked your interest in journalism and environmental education, I've got some great news. The Pulitzer Center has tons of resources on the Flipgrid Discovery Library, all designed to connect teachers and students with underreported stories and the journalists that cover them. Plus, there's a Flipgrid group just for E2. Check out flipgrid.com/Pulitzer Center E2 to answer a special prompt from Karol and explore the full library for more sustainability resources and upcoming live events. Now, we've got something special to show you. We know this year has demanded a lot and that a few words of affirmation can go a long way. So, over the past few weeks, we've been collecting messages of encouragement and appreciation from your biggest fans, your students. Check it out.
There is always that one teacher who went the extra mile. That is you. Yes, you. Thank you for your sacrifice.
Thank you, teacher, for all your work.
You helped me turn my ambition of computer science into my passion.
I salute the dedication to impart education to we students in these tough times.
I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all my teachers who provided uninterrupted learning for students even during the pandemic time.
Thank you, educators, for inspiring us and loving us, making sure that we all receive education that works.
I'm proud to be a Vikas Bhatyan and I'm glad to have such great teachers.
Gratitude to all my teachers.
Gracias por ejercer tan bella profesión y siempre sembrar el conocimiento.
They are the key to success.
Thank you, teachers, for your great efforts.
I support you.
Thank you very much and keep going.
Forever grateful to you, teachers.
I know this year's been tough, but you guys have been doing great. Keep pushing forward.
Have taught us the important life lessons of resilience and rising up to the occasion.
Thank you to the person who never underestimates us, to the one who tolerates our fuss. Thank you, teacher, for being more than just an educator.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. We've heard from some amazing speakers so far, and I am so thrilled to continue that trend. I've been looking forward to learning from our next 4 guests all week. Today, I'll be joined by our Microsoft education leaders for a discussion on the state of education, the future of learning, and steps our community can take to move forward together. I'm thrilled to introduce you to our executive team responsible for worldwide education at Microsoft. First, Ron Megiddo, Corporate Vice President of Modern Life and Learning. He's ultimately responsible for leading the success and growth of our education market. And we have Deirdre Quanstrom, who leads our incredible education-focused engineers. Together, they create our products to help all of you make learning more accessible, fun, and impactful. And Paige Johnson, she leads the team responsible for getting the word out about what we are bringing to the market for education. And Rick Herman, he leads our teams around the world to work with all of you to bring our products into your schools and into your classrooms, enabling your students to achieve more. Please join me in welcoming our Microsoft Education Executive Team, and let's dive into some questions. Hi, Ron. Welcome to E2. Please tell us a little bit more about yourself. What drives your passion for education around the world?
Thank you, Christina, and thank you everybody for joining us. Before I do, I want to start really by thanking this amazing community. It has been a phenomenal effort to continue teaching and learning around the world, and I know that you are at the front lines of doing so. And you have my deep appreciation, empathy, and sympathy for the challenges, but also the heroics and what you are doing for the children and learners all over the world. So thank you on behalf of all of us here at Microsoft and on behalf of myself personally. You asked, Christina, what is it that motivates and kind of what's the passion? It starts with the kids. It starts with the learners. It's knowing that the skills that they are getting at school, the skills they are getting in the classroom and that they are getting at home during these formative years, those skills are really what is going to shape them up as adults and what's going to prepare them for their future. And us being able to, at Microsoft, in partnership with educators such as yourselves, deliver the best learning experiences to those kids, meeting them wherever they are, helping them, whether it is learn how to read, learn math, learn how to collaborate, learn how to present, learn how to code, whatever it might be, whatever we can do to help them is what motivates me. When I hear of stories of students learning, getting excited by learning, succeeding at learning, and breaking through, it really is what drives me at the end of the day and what motivates everything that we do here for the community.
Deirdre, would love to learn more about you. What drives your passion for creating great products for education?
I came into education through the lens of gaming, and that really was so much fun thinking about disruption and how we could put games in classrooms. And we expected students to be excited about that, but I think what's been even more overwhelming and exciting is how educators have embraced games, how educators have embraced the disruption and the potential, and how really putting these tools, starting with Minecraft, which I did, even things like Flipgrid and Teams, and enabling the students to be creators and follow their curiosity about the learning has been incredibly exciting to see how that's continued to grow.
Paige, tell us a bit more about yourself. Where does your passion for educators, leaders, and students come from?
Thanks so much, Christina. I am so excited to be here at E2. I am a huge fan of all of the leaders that you are and the passionate and important work that you're doing in the world, especially at this moment in time. And so what excites me and really engages me in this work is thinking about the combination of the power of technology and the power of amazing educators. And that really is the magic of this event, is that I know that all of you have been dealing with super hard challenges, unprecedented challenges at this moment in time. And many of you are leveraging the power of technology, of Microsoft technologies, of other companies' technology, to really enable and ensure that all kids participate in that future workforce and in education in more equitable ways. And I am excited about the leadership that you bring to the field of education and the opportunity to really lift your voices and experience up and support you in impacting educators around the world in really addressing some of the hardest challenges that we're facing at this moment in time.
Thanks, Paige. Rick, welcome to E2. Share with us a bit more about yourself. What drives your passion and your commitment to education?
I do want to start just acknowledging the moment of incredible challenge that we have been through and continue to be in. I think we all have a story about a teacher and about the change that they've made for us individually. For me personally, that's a professor who actually set me on a path to pursue a life in technology and led me early on in my career. I was at Intel, and that took me on a path to understand where technology and policy and people intersect to really make a difference. And that led me into education, where I think we have the opportunity to make the greatest impact, right, for kids, for families, for underserved communities. So I'm so happy to be here with our innovative educators, with our school leaders. I wish I could give you a big virtual hug at this moment, and I look forward to being together in person at some time in the future.
Thanks, Rick. Deirdre, as you look ahead, what do you see as key opportunities and challenges facing education?
Yeah, it's both overwhelming and inspiring, the challenges that we're all facing globally, particularly in education. We've seen so much transformation, and I recognize how hard that is on all the stakeholders, on the learners, on the educators, on the school leaders and decision makers, and on families. And so in both the sort of acceleration and adoption of new technologies and new way of doing things, it's also been massive change management. I'm really excited about the potential we have to take what we've learned from the last couple of years about what has worked well. My younger daughter has dyslexia, and so for her, remote school in some ways was really empowering because she was using things like text to speech. She was on a device more than she had been previously. And that really opened up for her new ways of communicating and working through sometimes some of those challenges with homework that were so frustrating. But being able to open up a document and have that read to her became empowering and helped her get through that. And so I think that's just a small example of how technology and the challenges we've been through unlock new opportunities for us to explore and build on in this new normal, whatever that is.
Paige, can you share an aha moment you experienced this past year and how it led you think about new ways Microsoft could support education?
I think, I joined Microsoft about 9 months ago. And so I thought I really understood Microsoft products. I've used them all my life. I've created large teacher training programs based on Microsoft products. I'm a huge fan. But when I got here, I realized, wow, the tools and resources we have, especially around literacy, are aha and unbelievable. And the opportunity to help kids really learn how to read, really understand and gain literacy skills. And when I look at the research on gaps in learning and kids falling behind, the thing that concerns me the most is the learning loss around literacy, because I know it is so hard to catch up on that. And it is so foundational to a child's success in the future, both in school and beyond. And so for me, the aha of Immersive Reader helping kids who may have challenges really focus on any of our products and tools. The fact that Immersive Reader is available in Edge and it can bring the whole worldwide content of the internet to students. The reading coach tools that have come on in teams that Deidre and Iran's team are creating that really take a lot of the lift of literacy assessment, which being a former teacher, having done some of that literacy assessment and knowing just how much time it takes away from actual learning and teaching, and just having that automated and better and easier, really so exciting. And then our latest announcement on Reading Coach, that again is built into Immersive Reader and allows students to have a practiced technology that allows them to practice reading out loud. So important. And just when I look at it, it almost makes me want to go back into the classroom. So I'm just so excited, especially about some of the tools that we have in literacy and trying to figure out how to make sure that the entire world knows about them, that they're available, that they have access to it. They have access to it in the languages that their children speak. For me, that drives my passion, and it's part of the reason why I'm here at Microsoft.
Iran, as the leader of our product strategy here at Microsoft, what developments are you most excited about?
Definitely Reading Progress and Reading Coach are top of mind, I think, for all of us. And really, because we're just seeing the impact that they're having. The goodness of Reading Progress is the fact that teachers can take any text that they want and submit that to students. And here again, we got another insight back to us that really is about the empowerment that brings. Usually when reading tests were administered, teachers had to pick kind of reading level text that they had. They'd give the same text to all the different students, and different students engage and get excited about different content areas. And if you could take any article or any piece of text and put it into Reading Coach and give one kid an article about local sports and another kid an article maybe about something scientific that they care about, or maybe a fictional piece of work, that engages them differently and again allows them to show up more completely and show really what their true levels are. So it's those unintended design points that excite me, and specifically the work that we're doing in literacy, as Paige said. But there's two other areas. I talked earlier about the challenges of the social emotional challenges schools and kids coming back into schools are facing. And the product that we shipped during the pandemic and continue to invest in, called Reflect, is this awesome tool that lets teachers check in with students, but it's also a tool for the students to check in with themselves and find language and terms to put around those emotions. And that brings me to the third kind of product area that I'm excited about that again, I think is fundamental to everything we do, whether it's Reading Coach or Reflect. It's the data feedback loop. The work we're doing with insights, the work that we're doing with open education analytics, and any place that we can bring back data and feedback to the student and to the teacher, I think is some of the most impactful work that we're doing. You'll see demos of this throughout the conference. Hopefully you're already using some of these tools, and you'll see us continue to invest in new functionality coming out for both Reflect and Education Insights, our efforts around open education analytics, and definitely the literacy products.
Rick, we've got incredible leaders and educators all here today. They are the change makers in education. As you reflect on this past year, what words of encouragement do you have for our showcase schools and our MIE experts?
Yeah, well, first, I just want to communicate how inspired I am personally by what you all do. And, you know, when I think of all of you, I think of courage, I think of bravery, I think of incredible resilience. And I know we are all deeply appreciative for what you do every day and to have the opportunity to be part of what you do. When I think about the challenges ahead for all of us, there are a couple of things that I think a lot about, which was change management. We are going through a really extraordinary period of time of change. So how do you execute change effectively? How do you manage and lead through change? How do you take students and stakeholders right through change? I think it's an incredibly important skill set to be thinking about. And then the other thing is your own skill sets and investing in yourself during a period of time in change. And that is one of the things that we hope we will always be a fantastic partner with you in helping you to learn those skills with the programs and the technologies that we're bringing to market.
Thank you so much. That was incredible. Paige, Rick, Aran, Deirdre, I really can't thank you enough for joining us today. It was great to hear about your passion for our shared mission across Microsoft and how Microsoft will continue to empower and support our educators, our leaders, and students around the world. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. It's been an eventful morning or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. I'm so glad we got to hear Paige, Rick, and Aran share their insights on what's next for Microsoft Education.
Me too. I was really excited to ask our education leadership team about how they are preparing to support all of you and enabling you to embrace these new incredible opportunities to help you empower your students to achieve their full potential. That reminds me, it's just about time to kick off our next set of professional development tracks.
That's right. Get excited for another PD party featuring your most requested topics. Dina, can you tell us more about today's agenda?
With pleasure, Sonia. Next, you'll have the opportunity to learn about digital storytelling, use and make code in the classroom, and how to leverage new features in programs like Reading Progress, the Reflect app, and more. And on the leader track, you'll learn about agile leadership and thriving together as an organization using apps like Viva.
And after today's sessions, we're going to meet right back here, and then we're going to head over to the awards ceremony together. Are you ready?
On your mark.
Get set.
Grow!